Hey y'all, I'm Jerdy, and in this video we'll be going over how to tank Molten Core like a pro in Season of Discovery. The footage you're going to see here is a combination of both Heat 2 and 3, but everything I say here can be both applied to any level 1 through 3. And if you have any other helpful advice, please leave it down in the comments below. I would love for this video and the comments to be a helpful source for anyone tanking Molten Core. But with that being said, let's get on with the video. So let's first start with the trash before Baron Geddon. All trash in this raid has a much farther aggro radius than what you're probably used to. Always face adds away from the raid to avoid any AoE abilities happening to the rest of your team. Giants and destroyers can do an AoE stun. There are fire mobs that can cast AoE fire volleys, and the core hounds can do an AoE fire breath. Make sure the raid stacks on the melee for surgers and annihilators. Annihilators have very loose threat, so having everyone in your raid next to you makes it easier to get threat back. The core hounds can stun, fire breath, blind, or give a fire res debuff to the entire raid. Make sure the tanks are topped off before the stun or the blind, as everybody in the raid will have this at once. When you get to Lucifron and Magmadar's room for the Core Hound pack, make sure you kill everything within 15 seconds of each other or they will start coming back to life. If even one comes back to life, stop everything, let them all come back to life and try again. If you pull one pack and kill them and the timer is still going down as you pull another pack, that pack will reset. So if you pull multiple packs, make sure you pull them at the same time. Be careful as they will apply a stacking bleed that dwarves can stone form out of. Alright, first boss, Lucifron. We've been separating the adds on 2 and 3. However, you can't stack them together if you have really good dispels in the mind controls. If you get the shadow debuff on yourself and you are a paladin, dispel yourself, don't wait for a healer to do it. Make sure you have taunts and high threat abilities to pick up adds if you do get mind controlled though. For Magmadar, dwarves can stone form the stacking dot the pups give, or paladins can bubble it off if needed. Keep them close though for parsing purposes. Have tremor totems or inspiration exemplar of the paladin urn in as many groups as possible, especially for your hunters, tanks, and healers. As you can see in this clip here, our hunters are in group 4 with our holy paladin and they're close to the holy paladin to get those inspiration exemplar ticks so they can get trank shot off ASAP. If for some reason you don't have a trank shot when the boss is enraged, make sure you have a cooldown ready either on you or from one of your healers, like bark skin, shield wall, pain suppression, etc. Alright, so Gehennas. A popular strat for this is to have 2 tanks on the adds and one of the boss and burn the boss down, but honestly, the adds have such low HP, I think if you just burn the adds down, stack them on the boss, and then kill the boss afterwards, you'll have a much better time, and your healers will thank you too. All melee and tanks should use a free action potion or a FAP on pull, and have CDs ready from both yourself and your healers, as you will be perma-stunned if you choose to just ignore the adds completely. Healers can use restoration pots to get the curses off on them, but make sure decurses go out ASAP, especially on your healers. Remember, decursing now damages the boss. Remind your fire mages and your DPS druids that if you decurse, it will actually help their parse, and then suddenly they'll actually do it. Alright, so Garr. We have 1 tank on the boss and 1 on the adds. We CC 2 on pull, kill 2, and then leave 1 up and then swap to the boss. If you cannot CC them, just burn the first 3 down ASAP and then move on to the boss and leave 1 alive. The tank on Garr should position himself right here, and the tank on the adds should position themselves right here. I've seen strats where the tanks are not against the wall, everybody else is. I think that's just insanely harder and kind of griefing your healers to do that. There's strats of completely ignoring the adds and nuking the boss if you have high enough DPS. However, when those adds enrage, they can straight up one-shot your tank, so it's very risky, especially when your tank can lose all their world buffs. So if you choose to go that route, make sure you have personal and healer cooldowns lined up. Onto Baron Geddon trash and the rest of the trash of the raid. Use FAPs as much as possible on trash. Turn them around as adds do AoE stuns and fire volleys, and careful for the fire blossom. Make sure your DPS holds off for like 2 seconds for you and your off tank to grab threat on the adds before going in, as some of them have loose threat tables. Prio all rock elementals before the fire elementals, as they are the ones who stun. You can choose to CC some of the adds on pulls. We just never found it necessary to do so, and always dispel the fire resistance debuffs that go out. Baron Geddon. You or your off tank should have a DPS set for this, as there is a DPS check at the end during the last 10%, and having 2 tanks for this fight is completely unnecessary. Assign a safe side and a bomb side. We like to start with a safe side on the right, bombs left, and when we get to Garr's room, we switch it up and have bombs go on the right and the safe side is left, since the right side of Garr's room has a much lower ceiling. If choosing the DPS in the hallway, make sure bomb targets know that they have to run down when targeted and not up, as the boss may cast his AoE ability during. Save all CDs for the end. For Shazzrah, you can do this on any heat level difficulty as he does no fire damaging abilities. This is very easy to one tank, but two tanking works here. His main ability is he will teleport and leave behind a clone that will stay in the same spot, permanently casting arcane explosions until he is killed or the boss is killed. When he teleports, he will swap to the target with the second highest threat. So if you're two tanking this, it will be your off tank, which completely negates the threat drop mechanic. If you are a caster tank, be careful as he does cast a spell reflect. If you are a protection warrior, however, your shield slam will cancel the spell reflect. For Sulfuron, stack everything together as the bosses share a health pool. One ad will enrage every so often. We didn't really notice it though. What you will notice is when you're stunned and get the shadow debuff. Shadow pots can help here, but make sure you get those debuffs dispelled. If you are a protection paladin, just dispel yourself. Don't wait for a healer to do it for you. Have defensive cooldowns ready, both personal or from your healers if needed. For Golemagg, we've been 3-tanking this, 1 tank per ad and 1 on the boss, but you can definitely 2-tank this with 1 tank on the ads and 1 on the boss. The ads will send you up in the air, so make sure the other tank can pick up the boss if you are sent up. Dodge boulders near the end and collect your loot. For Majordomo, we treat this like it's just a long trash pull. Have you and your off tank grab all the mobs, face them away from the rest of the raid, and stay close to that circle in the middle. Why? Because anybody in your raid can get teleported there, including the tanks, and if you get teleported there, it's a threat drop. So it'll be much easier for you to pick up the ads if you're as close to center as possible. The elites do a firebolt volley, and the healers do a heal ability, obviously. Only focus your kicks on the healers, as the fireball volley shouldn't be hitting anybody else but your tanks, and they're not that noticeable. Be careful as the ads can do either a melee damage or spell damage reflect, and then on heat 3, soak the giant fire orb with as many raid members as possible. And now for Ragnaros, if both your tanks are mana users like they are in my raid, we have 1 tank on the left side and 1 tank on the right side, as you can see right here, to avoid both of us getting the little mini knockback when it happens. Even though I'm pretty close to my feral druid, I still wasn't getting the wild strikes buff, and I think it's because of this little lip right here. I noticed once when both me and my feral jumped at the same time, we got the buff to appear. But if you're trying to get tank parses, just ask if your feral druid can come by every 10 seconds to give you the wild strikes buff. Before the boss emerges at 50%, make sure you have your AoE abilities up. Like if you're a prop paladin, make sure you have Avenger, Shield, and Hammer of the Righteous up, as it will make it easier to pick up these ads. The ads do drain mana, so if you are mana users like me and my off tank Warlock are, it does make it a bit of a challenge to get threat. Have frost traps ready, and all the ads are CCable and stunnable, so if you need to banish to help, go for it. Your Hammer of Justice will work. Rogues can stun lock these ads. Use your stuns on this trash. When an ad is about to die, it will explode, and on heat 3 it will suck you into, so you don't want to AoE all these down at the same time. Keep these guys away from your healers, again, because they drain mana. Before the last ad is dead, make sure one of your tanks is ready to pick up the boss immediately. When the boss gets close to dying, he'll summon his little ads again, and boulders will drop like they did in Golemagg. You can burn the ads down real quick or just cease and focus the boss. On heat 2, we just stunned them and I held 1 or 2 as we killed the boss. You can shoot for 315 fire resistance to resist the knockbacks. However, I think being at that 226 is good enough, because I don't think it's worth sacrificing that much DPS to resist a knockback that you can still get even at 315. And for the big giant fireball, just make sure you and your other tank are taunting the ads off the water elementals to keep them alive. Remember, these ads can be stunned. A big shout out to Jordy for providing me this footage. If you want the best boss guides in any version of Classic, Jordy is the way to go, and I'll put a link to his channel in the description below. And I think that's it for me, guys. I hope you find this video helpful. Remember, if you have any more tips that I didn't give that you think will be super helpful, leave them down in the comments below. If I said anything you think is really incorrect, leave it down in the comments below. Just be respectful. And also, just share with me how you've been enjoying your MC experience. Are you tanking it? Do you like tanking it? I love tanking it. I think I'd be super bored if I was just a DPS right now. As always, you guys, thanks for stopping by. Thanks for saying hi. Follow me on twitch.tv/dirtyjd. If you like watching my streams, consider subbing to my Twitch as well. If you have Amazon Prime, you can link it to your Twitch account and give me a free sub. Any and all contributions towards my channel, both on YouTube and Twitch, even if it's just a view, is very, very, very much appreciated, you guys. I'm just rambling at this point, so I will see y'all in the next video.